Always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
There's nothing more satisfying than helping you find the perfect vehicle. And this month, find something you love at just 2.99% APR on our most popular models. Plus 90 days until you make your first payment. Like the 2024 Camry with stylish good looks and impressive performance. Or the 2024 Corolla built for comfort and style with top-notch tech. Panama City Toyota. For over 30 years, where relationships are born.
Offer expires March 4th. For details, visit PanamaCityToyota.com.
Sports fans, we love our teams, but let's talk real estate for a moment. Meet Berg Title, your trusted local real estate title and escrow company. Based in downtown Panama City, Berg Title knows the community inside out. They handle everything from title searches to escrow services with expertise. Honest, reliable, and here to make your real estate journey smooth. Remember, it's Berg Title. Call them at 850-250-2900. That's Berg Title, your partner for a worry-free real estate experience in Panama City and Panama City Beach.
Hey there, folks. Looking for a place that feels like home right in the heart of Panama City? Well, look no further than Charlie Corm's place at their new location on 15th Street. Charlie Corm's is not just a place, it's an experience. Imagine cozy corners, friendly faces, and the aroma of delicious dishes that'll make your taste buds dance. From sunrise breakfast to late night bites, Charlie Corm's on 15th Street has it all. Charlie Corm's place on 15th Street is now offering exclusive weekday lunch specials. Visit Charlie Corm's place on 15th Street. Look for the giant mural.
Hi, this is Matt Lewis with Reliable Hydraulic Solutions. We offer comprehensive diagnostics and repair service for all types of hydraulic units, such as hydraulic and pneumatic cylinders, hydraulic pumps, motors, and valves, as well as a broad range of hydraulic hoses and O-rings. Give us a call at Reliable Hydraulic Solutions at 850-326-3000 for any of your hydraulic needs.
Visit their new location, Highway 77, south of Tractor Supply.
WPLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Lynn Haven, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Let's play the game.
Sports Talk Radio will never be the same.
I just don't think that anybody's going to succeed in that system.
It's a bad organization.
It's just a bad organization.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Onion pickles, onions pickles.
Live and local.
Look, it's impressive.
On ESPN.
Northwest Florida.
And we are live. You guys are riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs, tuned into ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 right here in Panama City and 101.9 in Port St. Joe. I'm David Hayes along with Tyler Bishop, Max DeLayden, and Caveman Rick. We are the Afternoon Underdogs. A little dreary weather out there, but we always need a little good rain. And, with the heat on its way, it's nice to have this cooler weather. Hopefully everyone was out there safe on the roads this afternoon. Max DeLayden supporting the Washington Huskies this afternoon.
Michael Penix support.
Michael Penix, yeah, there you go. There is a big difference there. Where do you want Michael Penix to go?
He's getting some high comps right now in the combine. Not Minnesota.
Really? Not Minnesota.
Yeah.
I guess being a Bears fan, is that?
Yeah, I don't want to have to root against him. I mean, it's not a bad spot.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great spot for him.
I'm worried he'd get hurt there, though, with that O-line. You seeing Kirk Cousins, Falcons rumors?
Yeah, apparently his wife's a UGA grad. I learned that not
I didn't know that.
Yeah. She's from Atlanta, went to UGA, so I guess they've got some family there, so it's an attractive place for him to go. Obviously, I mean, I said this last year going in the year, I think it's a pretty good roster outside of quarterback. I mean, Desmond Ridder ended up being probably worse than most people expected him to be. But, the roster's there for the most part outside of quarterback. So, there's some interesting weapons with Bijan and Pitts in London and, the defense.
And Raheem Morris.
Morris, new offensive coordinator coming from L.A. with him. There's some interesting stuff there. If you get a guy like Kirk, I don't know if Kirk's a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, though.
Dude, he's talented.
I mean, is he? They did decent last year, right?
He was great until he got hurt.
Oh, absolutely. Kirk Cousins, no doubt about it. Now, can we say that the receiving core over there is more talented than what they have over there in Minnesota?
Oh, man. As a whole, I think it's more talented. There's not a Justin Jefferson.
There's not a Justin Jefferson.
But I think as a whole,
but Addison was pretty dang good, too. That's tough.
And they've got the tight end weapon over there because you got T.J. Hawkinson in Minnesota. There you go. But we're going to start the show off today with a quarterback from the Bozeman Bucks who is going to be a preferred walk-on for the Aggies of Texas A&M. He was the FACA District 2 Player of the Year, first-team quarterback, also the Bay County Offensive Player of the Year. He had a also got the 4.0 Athletic Excellence Award. He was the MVP for Bozeman. They had a record of 12-1, also an appearance in the Final Four with 3,442 total yards and 40 touchdowns. Peyton Gay is riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs. Peyton, how are you doing on this afternoon?
Pretty good. How are you?
I am doing phenomenal. Thank you for giving us some of your times. And again, congratulations signing yesterday at Bozeman for Texas A&M. How did that opportunity present itself to play for Texas A&M?
So I think it was my sophomore year going in the junior year summer. And I went out to a camp at Texas A&M. I think that was Coach Fisher's first year there. And I really did pretty good at the camp. I got on his radar. And then end of my junior year, going into senior year that summer, I went back out there. And I balled out again. And he told me that I would be a great take. And that he pulled me into his office with a bunch of other kids. And basically told me that I had a walk-on opportunity if I wanted to go there, and that he'd be more than happy to have me on the team, and that I had an opportunity.
This sounds like the best-kept secret in Bay County. How hard was it for you to kind of keep this under wraps?
Well, it was pretty hard. I mean, I would love to have more options and be the big guy with the 5 stars and everything, but it's just real hard for me to do that. I mean, with my height and just everything with that. So, I mean, it was pretty hard. I mean, I wanted to tell everybody. I wanted to make it announced. And I did wear a Texas A&M towel, and that really made me feel good about myself. I feel like it made me play better. I tried playing to higher standards. But, I mean, it was pretty hard to keep secret. And so I wanted to see what else was out there and if anybody else could give me an opportunity.
Well, it sounds like a pretty good opportunity over there with Texas A&M. Now, are you going to be aiming to play quarterback, or is there a possibility of switching positions? What do you think is going to happen in that situation?
So what I've heard is that they got a bunch of quarterbacks out there, and they're kind of over their limit. So, I mean, I'm going to try to play quarterback, but I'm going to be available for whatever they want me to do. I'm not going to just say, hey, I'm a quarterback, that's what I'm in, or I'm leaving. I'll go play line if they wanted me to play line. I mean, I'm open to whatever they wanted me to do.
Hey, Peyton, this is Tyler. First of all, congratulations. It's awesome. So you said, like, the whole journey kind of started with Jimbo. With him leaving and then Mike Elko taking over, what was that transition like? And, him bringing in his new staff, how did that communication work with you?
I was real nervous whenever I heard about Coach Fisher getting fired, and it was probably a couple weeks, and the offensive coordinator reached out to me, and I kind of figured, hey, I still have a spot here, so I kind of asked them that, and they said yes. Coach Elko is honoring all walk-ons and all scholarships, so that kind of made me feel good. And I mean, I had multiple people reach out to me, and I'm starting to get all my information in, and I'm starting to get everything ready.
This is exciting stuff, man. Texas A&M, that's huge. You're also involved with the FFA. Did that have did that make this decision a no-brainer? Not only can you go play football for Texas A&M, but you can also be involved with their agriculture program?
Oh, yeah, that was a no-brainer. Miss Peltonen, our ag teacher and our FFA supervisor, she was out at Nationals for FFA, and she met Dr. Skaggs out there, which is the head of the agricultural department out there, and she kind of gave him my information, and then we went out there and visited, and I mean, it's just a different environment out there with the agriculture, and it's just so much more advanced than everywhere else. I mean, it was a no-brainer with having that available, and for everything Miss Pelton has done for me. I mean, that's just, I would have never even thought about going to Texas A&M if it wasn't without agriculture or a scholarship.
I had no idea that we had FFA here at Bozeman, which for those of you who don't know, Future Farmers of America. What is one of your favorite or your best stories from your time at Bozeman's FFA?
I can't really say I have a favorite, but I just have so many great memories with them, and we do so much in the community that it's kind of hard to believe y'all haven't heard about it. I mean, we've done stuff at Church Supply. We've done stuff at daycares, goat yoga. We've done petting zoos. We've been down to state for a couple of our teams. We have national titles. We have state titles. I mean, my favorite was probably the state convention when I won my wildlife proficiency state award. And I'd say that the state convention was just amazing. It was just great to be there, and I mean, it felt so good being surrounded by other people that like have the same opportunity and the same mindset as you.
That is great stuff. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We are on the line with Peyton Gay. He was the quarterback for Bozeman on their great run this last year. Also involved with Bozeman's FFA, and he's a preferred walk-on for Texas A&M headed over there next year. What did it mean to you, Peyton, to help Bozeman to one of, if not their very best football season that it's ever had?
I started there my freshman year, and we had the COVID year, so we've automatically made playoffs, and our first playoff win was, I think it was Weewaw, and I mean it was just great to be a part of the first playoff win. And then the next year we went to the playoffs again. It was great to do that as a sophomore, and then we went over to Northview and had a tough ride there. But I mean, for my 4 years, it's been great to even build up the team. I don't think it just started with last year. I think it started from my freshman year, because most of our starters this year were seniors, and they came from all in, and they kind of built up the program and helped you build it. And my junior year, I got hurt, and Colin Miller had to go start at quarterback, and he kind of brought the team together and made sure everybody was fighting for each other, not just themselves. So whenever I got back, he moved back out the wide receiver room, was a big part for us. And I mean, it just started from the ground up, from freshman year up, and it wasn't just me who kind of helped lead the team. I had so much help from all the other players and seniors that were helping me lead, and it was just a team effort.
So it sounds like you knew something special was building for a while, but at what point during the season last year did you realize that it was going to be a special season?
So I think it was the Destin game where we started hearing the rumors that they were real good and that they were going to whoop up on us and just be the team to beat. And then we beat them. Then I don't remember who exactly was next, but I think it might have been Chipley. Then we beat Chipley with the chances field goal. And then after the Chipley game, we were kind of like, okay, we can do this now. Like we got this in the bag. And then it just kept happening. And then Relaford, we were like, I mean, we've got to win this game to be 10-0. I mean, you don't have to, but it would be very, very cool to do it and be 10-0. I mean, I think it started from the Chipley game that we finally realized, hey, we're pretty good and that we can make a run this year.
So you beat Rutherford, and then you get a rematch against Northview, and the season's on the line there. Chance Jenkins has got to drill a 45-yarder. Now, I've watched a few high school kickers, and when you see 45 yards, you're like, that's a long, long way to go, and he drills it. But tell me, were you watching the kick?
I was more surprised. Coach Griff, I kind of walked over to him and was like, why are we kicking this? It's 45 yards. And then he looked at me and was like, wait a second, it's 45 yards. And kind of was like, didn't realize it. And then we kind of sat back and watched Chance do it. And then we were like, oh, yeah, it's 45 yards. Chance made that with ease. I mean, it was kind of like it caught us off guard. I was kind of like, what are we doing? And then Chance did that. We took a step back and was like, oh, wow, Chance just basically won us this game.
Yes, I knew that had to be the feeling because I remember being there on the field and just watching, and I was thinking the same thing as you, like, oh man, they're going to try to kick this. And when he drills it, I'm just jumping up and down like, ain't no way, man, what a kick. And so then that sets you guys up with a minute left, and the whole night you've had to deal with some snaps that were a little high and a little low, so you were doing a great job corralling those, by the way. And then you throw a bomb down the right sideline to Josh Hansen that ends up being the game winner. How much confidence when that ball left your hand did you have when you're watching it fly? Because it felt like the ball was up in the air for 3 or 4 seconds.
Whenever the play first started, I saw that John was on the right side and that the guy had walked up on him, and I was like, oh man, that's a mistake. Like, John's gonna run by him and we're gonna have a shot here. And so I had to have my mind set on what was going to, like, where we were going to go. And then the snap was low. I got it back, and I just kind of let it rip. And then right when it came on my fingertips, it just felt like it spun, and it just felt like it was going to just be magical and hit John for the win. And I mean, that's exactly what happened. I mean, I didn't feel any doubt in that ball as soon as it left my hands.
Hey, Peyton, Texas A&M kind of looking at their schedule. They got a couple big-time home games this year. They got y'all open up with Notre Dame week 1, play LSU in Texas there towards the end of the schedule. Is there one of those games in particular, like in College Station, you're most excited about? Is it the first one? Have you started practicing your horns down? Which one are you really excited about seeing? I mean, because those are some big-time names coming to Aggie Land for your first year there.
Oh, yeah, I am definitely excited about Texas. When we were out there, I think I was went to a game, and it was the Miami game, I think 2 years ago, and it had 110,000 people in the stadium, and you couldn't hear a thing when they walked out, or when something happened, you couldn't hear a thing, or the person standing next to you. I mean, that was just amazing. And then we went out there for another game this year, and we actually went to the Midnight Yell and learned the chants for the team coming up, and it's just different on what they do out there and how they prepare for a game. Not even just the football team, but the students and everybody who's going to be at the game just prepares different than everybody else that's going to come there and compete. So yeah, I'm definitely excited about Texas because the rival schools, and I could be 100% wrong, and I probably am, but is this the first year that they played Texas in a long time, or did they play them last year or the year before?
Since 2011, I believe.
Yeah, so it's the first year they played in a long time, and it's going to be at home, so that's going to be really exciting.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a rejuvenated rivalry, and someone who probably won't be QB1 in that particular game is opted out of the EA Sports College football game. Let me ask you, though, Peyton, are you excited to be into, next year you'll be there in the EA Sports College football game?
Oh, I'm so excited. I played, my dad had a PlayStation 2 or 3 with the like a real old NCAA, and my brother and I would play, and I think it'd just be the coolest thing to have, college teams, and so we started playing Madden with NFL, and I was kind of like, it's a little bit cooler to play with the college players, and then I would never even thought I would be in an NCAA video game. I mean, my brother made a joke the other day. He brought it up and said, I'm going to go play with your person, and I'm going to throw a bunch of picks and make you as bad as possible just so I can be funny.
Yeah, hey, Peyton.
And I was kind of like, well, I mean, kind of cool that you could do that, but kind of don't want you to. I want to have a good reputation on my first little part of it.
Yeah. Hey, Peyton, Max here. Congrats again on Texas A&M. I'm not sure what your rating's going to be in the first game with you coming from high school, so don't let them disrespect you. But where are you most excited to play on the road this year? I know you guys have a pretty unique schedule. I don't know if you have the schedule up in front of you, but you're at Florida, neutral at AT&T against Arkansas, at Mississippi State, at South Carolina, and at Auburn. Obviously, you're not playing Bama or Georgia this year on the road, but any of those stand out to you?
So I think we play Florida at the Swamp, I think.
Yep.
And I think that's going to be my most exciting one because my family and I have been a diehard Florida State fan, and Florida's kind of been the rival for us. And, that's just going to be the rival school for me, even if it's not for Texas A&M, just because I grew up my whole life liking Florida State and rooting for Florida State and just hating Florida.
Right.
So that's gonna be a fun one to return to and just sit there and watch.
It'll taste real sweet too if you can win at the Swamp.
Yeah, Florida's got a tough schedule this year, so they might be. Well, I'm not sure. I think it's the third or fourth game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's the third one after Notre Dame and McNeese.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, it'll be a fun game.
It's pretty sweet, though, you get to open your career with Notre Dame. Like, what a way to start playing college football.
You're listening.
Are we playing at Notre Dame or at A&M?
College Station.
At College Station, yeah.
Okay.
Got him at the
I
house.
went up to a camp in Notre Dame my junior year, and it's just Notre Dame up there is just really cool. Just the what is it? The statue of Jesus or
Touchdown Jesus,
whatever's up there.
Yeah,
touchdown Jesus. I went and saw that, and that was just amazing.
What's been your favorite thing that you've seen on the campus at Texas A&M?
Oh, just the stadium.
Just the stadium.
That's hands down. The stadium is it looks humongous.
Man, I'm so excited for you. Got a couple questions left for you, and then we'll let you go. It's been awesome having you on with us, Peyton. But give me your favorite lesson that you learned from Coach Griffin.
I'd say, let me think about this one.
All right.
My favorite one. Man.
That's good thinking music, man. I like that.
Let's see. I want to say something about reading defenses or something like that, but that's not cool. I want to say something cool about it.
All right.
So I think it was me and Chance. It was Halloween. We practiced on Halloween, and we wanted to wear like a Halloween practice or whatever. And a couple of us were excited to do it, and a couple players weren't. They don't want to do it because of Coach Griff and all that. And so we were really hesitant on doing it, and then we did it. And then Coach Griff came out in a bad mood, and whenever he's in a bad mood, you don't want to be goofing off at practice or anything. So whenever, for all the Arnold kids, if he's in a bad mood, don't be goofing off or trying anything or wearing a Halloween practice.
Oh, man, that is great advice. That is great advice. And we've got a question from one of our listeners. He says, have you got to meet any of the current quarterbacks on the roster?
I have not met any quarterbacks on the roster. I think the 1, 2, 3 is Weinman, Henderson, and Reed, I think.
All right,
and
man.
I have not met them.
Well, pretty soon it's going to be Peyton Gay, man. Hey, thank you so much for your time, man. And it was a real pleasure talking with you. And you're really good at answering these questions. A lot of the times we'll get some younger athletes on, and they're a little shy and whatnot. But you got a great personality, young man. You're going to do great things over there at Texas A&M. Again, thank you for your time, and keep up the great work, my friend.
Get that NIL money.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. That's Peyton Gay, y'all. Man, what a athlete, what a man, and future farmer of America over there at Bozeman. I do kind of feel bad for not knowing. He was like, I'm surprised you guys didn't know about that. Well, don't blame the station. Just blame David on that one. David didn't know about that, but no, great stuff. And two of the most exciting football games that I went to, that I've ever been to, high school games. And I, to call the games for Mosley. The Mosley-Niceville game was right up there with that Bozeman and Northview game. Heck of an experience out there at Bozeman. Thank you guys for riding along with us. We're going to take a quick time out, and then we're going to get into your second 60 seconds with Max Delight. And we'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida, your home for Mike Greenberg.
Watching College Game Day, topic turns to whether or not the tournament should expand to 96 teams. The tournament is not just a tournament. It is a means for determining a national champion. The 95th best team in America over the course of an entire season does not deserve a chance to play for the national championship.
Greenies. Weekdays on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Tuesday. Moderately raining the remainder of the day with a wind at 15 miles per hour coming out of the southeast and 67. Tonight, look for a mixture of mostly clouds and light showers with a temperature near 63. Tomorrow, a high around 73 and partly cloudy. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
If you spend any time at all in your yard, you're going to encounter fire ants.
We know they can ruin a party. That's why we're this area's experts at fire ant elimination.
As your certified top choice professional, we will rid your yard of these unwanted invaders. Brock Pest is so sure they will get rid of fire ants that they offer a 1-year guarantee.
Enjoy your yard fire ant free. We guarantee it. Give us a call for your free consultation.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control, our family protecting yours since 1968.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Often imitated, never duplicated. The official sports station of the Panhandle. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back inside of the doghouse. You guys are listening to the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 here in Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. We just had Peyton Gay, who's a preferred walk-on for Texas A&M. He was a quarterback for Bozeman, led him to an incredible 12-1 season last year with a Final Four appearance to go along with that. Passed for 3,442 total yards and 40 touchdowns to go along with that. That was a great interview. Well, it was a fun interview. It was a great interview, but I'm like, when I said that, I'm like, now you sound like you're bragging on yourself, Dave. Like, no, not
you did
at
great
all.
too, Dave.
No. But I did want to tell you guys about the Bay High Baseball Fish Fry fundraiser. That is going to be this Friday, March 8th from 11 to 2 at the Bay High football practice field. They're going to have grouper, shrimp, fries, and baked beans there. It's going to be $12. You can Venmo at Tornado-Baseball. Or you can text 850-272-9358 or 850-358-6174 to place an order and for delivery options. Thank you guys for supporting Bay High Baseball. Oh, the grouper shrimp and fries are going to be provided by Tarpon Dock. So get on over to Venmo at Tornado Baseball, Tornado-Baseball, $12 for a good old plate of grouper shrimp, fries, and baked beans. I know what I'm having for lunch this March 8th. All right, this is your Minute with Max Delighten. Max is a lad who lends. Tell the people what it is, what you do.
Yeah, we lend on single-family homes, condos, construction perm loans. you name it. We do it all over at Allegiant Lending Firm, besides personal loans and land. So,
so that personal loan that you lent me, that was just that was non-business.
That was off the books.
That was off the books, man. I don't know if the boss is going to be happy about that, huh?
No, 850-565-1160 though. Give me a shout.
There we go. Hey, Max will take care of you. I see you moving and grooving all over the real estate world. Do y'all work with all realtors as well?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
we actually had a charity this weekend though over at for Arc of the Bay over Panama City Country Club. So
yeah,
we're everywhere in the community.
Hey.
We try to be.
Yeah, and you're doing a great job, man. Your wedding was packed out, and even your sister says you're going to be the future mayor of Panama City Beach. Hey, I think that there's a tinge of reality there. I really do, man. I think if that's something that you wanted to do, we can go ahead and start the push now if you want to. There we go. All right, Max Deladen for mayor here at Panama City Beach. Let's just go ahead and dive into the politics. What do you have any thoughts on being able to be a girl now in MLB The Show? I think that this is a great thing for young girls who might be interested in softball. They've never came out with a softball game, at least to my knowledge. If they did come out with a game, I think that it would be. I think in today's world, if you made like a $20 softball game that was decent, I think that could be a lot of fun. But
make it for like the Switch.
Yeah. But I've seen a lot of complaints on Twitter about you can't be a girl or it's not realistic because there's not girls in baseball. It's
realistic. It's a video game.
I was about to say, all right, well, me making myself 6'6", like that, that's not a reality. Me giving myself hair in the game, that's not a reality.
Growing up, I was a 6'6", 250-pound running back in Madden, and look at me now. 5'11", $180.
Sometimes I like to make the real short guys as fat as you. I think the weight limit is 300 pounds, so I'll make them real short and real fat.
So, people are getting mad about that. That's so stupid.
I think it's a real cool thing, and we're starting to get more girls involved in umpire, like at the major league level, right? Aren't we going to have a major league? Or maybe it was just in spring training, but then what's it, the A's broadcaster?
The NFL's been bringing that in.
Yeah. NBA too.
The Cubs person who's on the field, Taylor McGregor, phenomenal. She's on ESPN too.
Oh, there you go, ESPN too. Matt Chapman.
TOO, sorry.
ESPN. Oh, as in also. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Dave's girl, Beth Bowens.
I'm just not the biggest fan of. I think she's a great professional. It's just for me something about the voice. I'm not a huge fan. Like it has nothing to do with her gender at all. It's just she's someone that when she's calling the game, I call the game instead. At that point.
Who was the person who used to do Sunday Night Baseball? Jessica Mendoza.
I love her now.
Dude, she's terrible.
I like Jessica Mendoza.
You're
myself.
Contrarian.
Well, that's just...
You don't like that person, but you like Jessica Mendoza.
Well, I liked her takes. I liked her takes, and I thought that she brought... but to me, it's
It's
just the voice.
Took her off. It was good that they took her off.
Well, there you go.
People spoke.
The people spoke, and the people get what they want to get. I liked her, but just because everyone else and look, Beth Mowens is still doing her thing, So I'm not trying to say, oh, she stinks at it. No, what I'm trying to say is that the voice doesn't mesh well with my ears.
Yeah,
I feel the same way. There's like certain announcers out there you just kind of don't. You ain't feeling.
I'm sure there's plenty of people who turn on this radio station and be like, that dude sounds like an idiot, and change the channel, and that's fine.
It's that idiot mortgage guy.
Well, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me. Matt Chapman ended up signing with the Giants, so that's another Boris, another Boris player, and we've only got 2 more left to go, right?
Yeah, a little bit of an overpay. More the name carries weight. His mitt's fallen off a little bit. It's still a good mitt, but 3 years, $54 million for a 240, 320 guy. You're going to get 20 homers, 70, 75 RBI. I don't know. I think you could have got cheaper, but Giants were willing to pay it.
They were willing to pay it, and I do believe that when we were talking about Chapman earlier in the season or earlier in the offseason, that this was the landing spot that you predicted for him.
Yeah.
So good stuff there.
Thanks,
and and you said they kind of needed the third baseman, right?
Yeah, they do. They have a few holes. They're a really weirdly meshed team.
Yeah.
It works out for them. They might make a sign-in for Blake Snell or Jordan Montgomery as well, but they're just a really weird makeup. it doesn't really matter because the Dodgers exist. So
I was about to say, so now does this move right here put them on par with the Los Angeles Dodgers?
No, the Dodgers have like 3 guys who are better that could play third base if they wanted to.
I feel like they could put Yamamoto out there and he would,
be fine.
He looks pretty nasty, man.
He's nasty. He is. I think Shota Manga is going to be nasty too. The guy the Cubs signed.
Yeah.
Usually those arms, like Kodai Senga, we saw him really dial it up at the end of the year. Hopefully he's going to be okay. He's got arm fatigue. He's like the one guy on the Mets that I don't necessarily root against.
Yeah.
He's got disgusting pitches. That forkball is gross.
Oh, man. Lucas Giolito, partially torn UCL, and that could end up being season-ending. So the White Sox look like they kind of,
or the Angels, I guess, because he ended on the Angels.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah,
did he go back to did he go to Cleveland or someone too?
Well,
or was it just the Angels? Because didn't the Angels release him or no?
Dude, that's now I have to.
Because remember how the Angels just started releasing everyone with 2 weeks left?
We're done. They made the trade deadline push, and then they're like, "Yeah, this didn't work out. Y'all go wherever you want to now."
All these guys were like, "Man, I can't deal with another minute in a dugout with Anthony Rendon. I want to be released."
Yeah, he did end up with the Guardians last year, with the Indians. Whatever
I caught myself. I was going to say the Indians. Nope.
That's
who lost to the Cubs in the World Series, the Indians, not the Guardians.
There you go. But so the Red Sox ended up picking him up, and looks like he's going to have and he's
it's a bummer. He kind of has fallen.
He's
off
already had Tommy John too.
Yeah, that's not good. It's like deja vu if you're a Boston fan. It's like Chris Sale 2.0. You get the White Sox slop, and he gets hurt. It's weird what's happened with the White Sox. Maybe it's something in the drinking water in Chicago. It's kind of similar to the Cubs, how Baez fell off, Chris Bryant fell off. I mean, with the White Sox, you have Giolito fell off, Cease, who had a really bad down year last year, Tim Anderson, who no one wants to sign.
Yeah. I think the Marlins got him, though, didn't they?
Did they officially sign him? I thought they were doing physicals and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I think you're right. Either way, all those guys haven't lived up to what the hype was for them. It's too bad. And now they're saying Boston might be in on Jordan Montgomery, but I really don't think they believed in that roster. Like how some Boston players have been saying, like Rafael Devers, we didn't do enough.
Yeah.
And they didn't. And Jordan Montgomery would just be putting duct tape on a leak for them. So
so it's almost like kind of wade through the water for the year and just see where you're at. Because and especially with the AL East,
it's a gauntlet.
Yeah, if you're not doing enough during the offseason, it's going to be really hard. Now, but you never know what your team is going to produce, though. Because until they're on the field and you play that first month of the season, you really we can do predictions all day long.
But months because the Pirates started out hot and then I saw that happen.
That's a really good point. And how hot did the Rays start out last year?
And everything hit the fan.
I guess we just have to sit and wonder. Tim Anderson, do you know what that deal that he signed was for?
What was it?
1 year. Guess.
3.75
Oh,
million.
wow. Actually, you're a little low right there. $5 million.
$5 million?
I think that's a pretty good... I mean,
for being horrible the past 2 years, that's a good deal for him.
That's great for him, but also let's say that it was a Chicago White Sox thing, which I don't think that it's fair to say that at all.
Luis Rivera was fine.
But let's say that he meshes in well with the infield over there, and Luis Ariz gives him some hitting tips, and all of a sudden, man...
That's a locker room waiting to implode with him and Jazz Chisholm. That's two strong personalities.
While I was taking care of Coach Olds earlier, when we came back from break, did you guys mention the Zach Wheeler deal yet?
No, good mention.
No, we're not talking about no Phillies today. Just because you got go ahead.
Dude,
what do you think about about that? The Phillies locking him up.
I just thought it's the highest extension ever.
Yeah,
it's a big deal.
He's aged like fine wine, man. He's just gets better each year. Although he did give up. Did you see that double Jackson Holiday hit off him today?
No.
I was just saying, impressive for Jackson Holiday. It's not a knock on Wheeler. I think with Wheeler, he's a stud.
I saw something where somebody was playing with Jackson Holiday today that also played with his dad 20 years ago.
That's
I can't
cool.
recall who it was, but they showed a picture of him with his dad and then him with Jackson, and it was just it's kind of neat seeing that the two generations.
That's really cool. If you have time later, look up the Jackson Holiday double, though, because whoever's playing center for the Phillies, I don't think it was their normal center fielder, because he took like the worst route to the ball that I've ever seen a center fielder take. It was very Marcelo Ozuna-esque.
Probably just some kid that we're trying out.
Yeah. He looked so lost.
Do you think he's going to be starting out at the major league level?
I think so. They have no reason not to.
But where do they put him at? Because he's a natural shortstop, right?
That's probably second.
Okay.
I think they put him at second. He's a stud. It would be gross negligence of them not to bring him up, because he should be the AL Rookie of the Year if he hits like he did last year. And it's crazy. Like, his growth to get to the league and progression is incredible. And I think it's spring training, so you take it with a grain of salt. But like today, hitting like that off of Zach Wheeler as he's 19, 20 years old just goes to show like dude's ready to go.
Yeah, and it is just spring training, but still, I mean, you're facing major league pitching at that level.
And top 10 and arm at
Wheeler just got paid. He's like, yo, I'm good right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I also think that this was a great deal on behalf of the Phillies, even though $45 million is a lot, and you never know what's going to happen with for $45 million a year.
Man, we burn all kinds of money, dude. There ain't no
burn all
cap.
kind
It
of
don't
things.
matter, dude.
Must be nice.
Yeah, right.
But what I was going to say is he's right at that, if they were to have done like a 7-year deal, I think that's where it becomes a bad deal, because he's 33 years old right now. 3-year deal, he'll be 36, and then you can kind of revisit that.
Any deal, man, in any league that's more than 6 or 7 years is a bad deal as far as I'm concerned anyway.
Unless you're getting Anthony Rendon.
Or Bryce
Harper. Anthony Rendon. And then you're getting a guy that's happy to be there, right?
No, I said mine was a facetious one, but Bryce Harper, Bryce Harper, I would probably sit down with him and be like, hey, let's do another 10-year deal right now. I think he means not only a lot to the Philadelphia Phillies, but I think he means a lot to baseball, too.
No doubt.
And almost because of all of the young guns in the game, maybe that's been maybe Bryce Harper's has benefited from all of these young stars in the game and Shohei Ohtani, because not as much of the spotlight is on him anymore, and he's still mashing.
He listened to Kelsey yesterday too, and he knows about the city of Philadelphia. He knows what it can mean to him. If like Kelsey says, man, if you love the city will love you back.
Yeah, what a retirement speech too from Jason Kelsey.
Dude's awesome, man. Like, how can you not love that guy, dude? Even if you're not an Eagles fan, I
mean, he's basically got 2 fan bases and the rest of the NFL, because the Chiefs are like, hey, you know.
And it's sad that a lot of people probably look at him as like, oh, that's Travis Kelsey's brother.
Yeah.
Instead of being his own man, and he's the older one of the two as well. But
yeah.
I've got a couple of my cousins and their significant others watching over on the East Coast. And they think Rick's recording studio is very cool. Meg, Jane, Hank, and Reed, they were giving him a shout out.
Oh, right on.
They said, we got the Philly guy. What's he doing?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
They know what's up.
Are they Cubs or Sox fans?
Oh, dude, they're from St. Louis. They're Cardinals fans.
Oh, and they're going to have a tough year this year.
Yeah, the one cousin's boyfriend is not a very sports-oriented guy, but prides himself in sound systems.
Hey,
there you go.
There you go. So what's your favorite? If he's watching right now, I'll pull up
ones and twos.
What's your favorite? What's the best speakers on the market right now?
Ask him.
I'm asking him. Like if he comments, then.
Something like that.
Oh man! Well, you got time for one more segment?
I think so.
All right, if you think so, then we're going to dive into the NL and the AL Central and give a little preview for that. You guys are riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs. We're going to find out, will Max or won't Max be here when we return?
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan Patrick.
Because it feels like there's a little more attached to Ryan Poles' words. He's the GM of the Bears.
We're open-minded as we walk into the combine. But again, I'm always going to have in my mind to make sure we do right by Justin.
Okay, you're going to do right by Justin. No, you do right by the organization.
It's the Dan Patrick Show. Weekday mornings from 9 till 11. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Tuesday. Moderately raining the remainder of the day with a wind at 15 miles per hour coming out of the southeast and 67. Tonight, look for a mixture of mostly clouds and light showers with a temperature near 63. Tomorrow, a high around 73 and partly cloudy. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hey folks, Chris Kramer with Bill Kramer GM. And the best place to listen to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is inside a brand new vehicle from Bill Kramer GM. And I want you to know we've got 10 times the amount of inventory on the ground as we did this time last year, and darn near all of them are discounted. So shop us online at BillKramerGM.com or visit us the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd. We'll make it easy and take great care of you.
Is your restaurant looking a little tired from the long off season? Is your office a little offish? Start the new year off right by giving them a fresh start. Fresh Start Cleaning is now accepting new clients. Ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services. Fresh Start Cleaning. Get clean again with Fresh Start. Call 850-771-6917, 771-6917, and ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services.
He stuck his head in the microwave and chanted Hot Pocket. Hot Pocket! Caveman Rick is part of the Afternoon Underdogs.
Hope you're drunk or heading home to a trailer.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back, and we've got an answer for the best speakers out there, and this is not a paid-for segment. What is it, the Sonos 5000s or the 500s? They're all around goated.
Sonos Era 300s.
Oh, Era 300s, goated though. So if you're in the market for any speakers, you know that those ones are the ones.
I don't know if that's a sound bar or sound system, but
I would imagine that those are car speakers.
No, that's got to be like those sound bars you put below your TV.
You
right?
think that those would be goated, like sound bars?
Well, Sonos. I know somebody that just got one for like their house not too long ago, and it's supposed to like be Bluetooth, hook up to the TV, that kind of thing too.
Max said, "Yeah, I got a few minutes. We can talk about sports." Not so fast, my friend. We talking speakers. All right, let's dive into the MLB here, or continue on with the MLB, and tell him thank you for responding though to the question. We wanted to get him involved. You know, that's kind of one of the things. What is that? Is that just like a regular Bluetooth speaker?
Whole home sound.
Oh.
Connect to your music like never before.
Sound like a hummingbird wherever it is
audio.
that you go. Man, all right, I'm taking this. Speaking of baseball, the Cardinals down there in Middleburg are absolutely beautiful because my papa's got all kind of bird feeders and whatnot, so I was filling them for. He's got a real cool one that's got a camera in it. So I got him reconnected to the camera there, and yeah, great stuff. And so I'm trying to bring in baseball here, so let's talk NL Central. And how does that division play out this year? Who do you think who finishes last? We'll work from the bottom up to the top.
Our friends over in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, who will have $6 dog nights this year. Because Philly, they're not doing dollar dogs no more. They're just buy one, get one free.
That's unfortunate.
And only two. Well, it's not like you were going to get up there for the April games anyways.
No, I know, but still, man, I should still do them, though.
Yeah.
I would love to get up to PNC Park, though.
I honestly would like to go to PNC Park. Who would, if outside of your team, so for you it would be the Cubs. Like, who would you like to see play the Pirates if you were able to go to PNC Park tomorrow?
Oh man,
no, I'm just kidding because there would be no game there tomorrow. But like, who would be your ideal matchup? For me,
right now, I'd love to see like the Orioles.
I was just about to say the Orioles. That's crazy, man. Yeah, well,
AG just saw those two play down in spring training.
Was it the Orioles and the Pirates? I thought it was the Rays.
Blue Jays and Rays was the first day, and the second day was Pirates and O's. We can ask them about it maybe tomorrow if we see them here tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good one. But so Pirates, they're the bottom feeders again this year. Do you think that they finish over or under 500? They were 76 and 86 last year.
Sorry.
Over or under 500 for the Pirates?
Oh, under.
Under?
Yeah, I would say about like 14 games.
Okay, so they're going to have a worse season this year than what they did last year.
It's going to be bad.
All right. Who finishes fourth?
The Brew Crew. unfamiliar territory for them, losing their manager thanks to the Cubs.
Attaboy.
Yeah, I'm very happy about it. That's a top 3 manager.
I'm still surprised about that, you know?
That was our biggest signing for the longest time.
It's like the Cubs had a great offseason. Well, like, who'd they get? Well, we retained Cody Bellinger, but more important than that, we got Craig Counsell.
And they didn't take off like all those homegrown commercials for like a month after we signed him, and I was like, oh, that's insult to injury. A rare Illinois win over Wisconsin.
Is that a battle of the states?
Yeah, I mean, with the Brewers, the Bucks, the Packers.
Where does Missouri fit into all of that? Just asking for your cousins.
They have the Cardinals, and
well, I'm just saying, like, as far as the battle of the states. It's like,
it's weird. You get like about halfway down Illinois and it just becomes Cardinals fans because they're closer to St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's where the dividing line is. And up north, it's just Wisconsin. That's Wisconsin. Because it's like kind of like the Cardinals. Like Wisconsin sports just has like devil magic with like the Bucks winning the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
The Packers always being competitive for no reason. Like almost beating the Niners this year with that trash can team. And that's what we have to deal with. And the Brewers winning the division with like no spending ever, which hopefully we can emulate.
Yeah, maybe y'all can emulate that. Yeah, for sure. Maybe it's just because the people, and I don't know this from experience, never been to Wisconsin, but they seem like very nice people.
They are, outside of their
you betcha.
Sports fighters. You betcha, don't you know?
Don't you know?
I'll boot the Packers out.
That sounds Canadian. Is that what they say, boot?
Oh, yeah. Once you get up to Lambeau, that's all you hear.
What's all that a boot?
Basically Canadian. Canadian in my eyes.
So Pirates 5th, Brew Crew 4th. 3rd is the Reds, Cardinals, or the Cubs.
Oh, the Reds. The Reds are really fun, though. I know AG's talked about them a lot, too, and I was happy to see he gave the Cubs some praise as a fun team. Kind words from my man AG. I know him and I disagree on a lot of sports takes, but the Reds are pretty fun with McLean, Encarnacion Strand, Noel Marte. That's not a bad value bet if you're trying to get a good value on a Rookie of the Year. I agree with him on that. He was a top 3 prospect forever and then fell off just barely for 1 year, but he was like 18 when he fell off, and now he's 20, I think, so...
And last year, it seemed like they were nothing but prospects,
exactly.
And then add in Joey Votto. So will they be able to do you think Joey Votto's going to end up signing anywhere?
I don't know. Maybe he'll take like a veteran minimum somewhere. I hope if he does, if it's not Cincinnati, it's somewhere where he can be competitive.
I want to see him on a contender. I don't care if it's... I think the Braves are a great...
Watch somebody like Philly pick him up.
I think Philly's a fine landing place for him.
Castellanos, they got a relationship, maybe, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
And then he can fill in at first base for Bryce Harper. I mean, because that's what we're talking about with Joey Votto right now. Is you're not going to be the everyday guy. You're not playing 162, but you can get in where you fit in, and I think that he will be great to a great addition to any clubhouse that he goes.
Got to change your wardrobe. Red still transfers over, you know.
Yeah.
Makes life easy.
Yeah,
it does.
That's a good point. It does. All right. Yeah. But, I mean, the Reds' big issue still is their pitching, and that's going to be a huge question mark. That bullpen's not good outside of Baby Diaz. Baby Diaz might be better than Daddy Diaz. Alexis Diaz.
Coach Siegel says Packers are trash. Wisconsin is for beer, brats, and hunting.
Yeah, sandwich fries.
What's that? And cheese.
And cheese curds, yeah.
And cheese curds.
Amen to that.
And what's the spotted cow?
Spotted cow.
Spotted cow. All right, number 2. Who finishes number 2?
This is going to sound homer because I do think this is going to come down to the end of the year, but I'm going to go with the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals have a few underlying issues here with Sonny Gray having that hamstring injury. Not too much to buy into, but their arms are, I mean, at the end of the day, pretty comparable batting lineups, and their pitchers are a little worse. So they have like a fossil rotation here. They would have had a good offseason, like I said, like 10 years ago when they got Crawford, Lance Lynn. Miles Michaelis is very iffy. I'm really surprised they didn't bring back Jordan Montgomery because he did so well, and he was so good for them. They got a great haul for him. Tekoa Roby, one of the guys they got in the deal, is an up-and-coming guy. He might be up this year for them. But that just seems like it makes sense. I could even see them, as much as I hate to say it, going for Blake Snell too, because they really do need to spend on a rotation guy. So
Goldschmidt was at Cognizant this weekend in the golf tournament. Did you see that?
Oh, was he really?
Yeah, guy, Smiley, whatever, interviewer. He was interviewing him like one of the days. I want to say it was Thursday, maybe? Beginning of the week, Thursday or Friday.
Goldschmidt actually just hit a homer today too to make the Cardinals the last team to hit a home run in spring training. Fun fact. They were the only team to not hit one until today.
Wow.
That is a very fun fact, and it doesn't necessarily matter because we're
It's just
going,
funny.
it's spring training. But yeah, I mean, and because last year you go to spring training, Matt Olson was just, he was crushing the ball.
Yeah.
And then he went into the regular season crushing the ball as well last year. So maybe there's a
Too bad no
correlation there.
WBC this year. That would have been kind of cool again.
Yeah, but I think we get that in 3 more years or so.
Yeah, I know.
I like the fact that it's not an every year thing because that's what makes, well, hopefully it'll make some of the more prominent American Major League Baseball stars want to play.
But I mean, how
in
good
that.
was that when we had Trout and Ohtani going against one another?
Yeah, that was. I mean, that was absolutely awesome. But there still is that. If we do that every year, I don't know if it would. I don't know if it would be a good or a bad thing if it was an every year thing. I think that if you were to hold it every year, eventually you would have some of your high profile, or you would have a lot less of your high profile Major League Baseball stars for the American team not playing in that. And maybe that even filters down to the other countries. And then Lord knows how bad the World Baseball Classic would be if you're not having the top stars from Venezuela and the top stars from the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico and all of that. So Cubs win the division.
I think so.
You think so? That sounds very confident.
Well, they just have a little more depth over everyone, and
Yeah.
I think that's what's the kicker. Assuming Justin Steele can still be at least 90% of what he was. Hendricks should be back. Tyones looked a lot better. Shota Imanga. And Jordan Wicks was a nice surprise. I don't know if you remember him, the guy with glasses, the lefty starter. And then we had the other guy with glasses, the righty starter, Javier Assad, is a good, 6th guy. The bullpen, we added a few more arms. Bellinger, I think, is kind of the push there, just to have another hot bat in the lineup. Matt Shaw should be up early for us, and I would have liked to have got Rhys Hoskins like the Brewers did. I still don't understand why the Brewers did that, because they got him, and then what did they get him after they traded Corbin Burns? I think they did.
I'm not.
Either way, it was within a week
I don't remember
span.
the timeline on that, but I think it was just one of those things where they're like, well, if you're going to take our manager, we know that you won't. We know that the Cubs won't Rhys Hoskins, so here we go. We're going to sign him.
Fire with fire, I guess.
Yeah.
But at least they have Jackson Churio coming up. I don't know if you're familiar with him. I mean, he's turning 20 in a week.
Yeah.
He's a stud.
They had some young guys on their squad last year, too, the Milwaukee Brewers did.
They did.
Was Fraley? I believe.
No, Fraley's on the Reds, right?
Okay, all right, maybe so. Who is it that I'm thinking of, though? I'll have to look him up. But he was a kid. I remember watching his his first home run in the major leagues.
Yeah.
And
I thought he was. Oh, you're thinking of Sal Frelick, I think.
Frelick.
Yeah.
I knew it was. I knew
You're
that
right
it was
there.
FR. And I was just like, I can't.
No, Sal Frelick. Yeah, he's got talent. Joey Weimer too.
Yeah.
Them and the Reds are such a unique roster makeup because they could be decent or they could be horrible. Like the Reds, Andrew Abbott came on best way to start your pitching career, and then really tailed off at the end, very badly. Started
Hunter Green didn't have a great year last year either.
And Lodolo getting hurt, because I think Lodolo is a bona fide stud, and then he had that leg injury. And obviously, if you can't land on your landing foot as a pitcher, you're screwed. There's nothing you can do. So Hunter Green too. It's a weird thing. He just some of those strikeout guys, if they can't go 6, it makes them a lot more inefficient, especially when your bullpen is kind of shoddy. And the other issue with the Reds is they just don't have any outfielders. You're rolling out Will Benson and guys like that. It's tough. And then the issue with the Cardinals for competing right now is Tommy Edman might not be ready for opening day with his wrist, and that's such a glue guy who can play any position for them. So
yeah. All right, one more question about the NL Central, and then we're not even we'll deal with the AL Central next week. Paul Skeens, Pirates #1 overall pick in Major League Baseball this year. Do you think that you think he'll get a decent amount at the major league level? He's going to be starting the year out in the minors, but what do you foresee from Paul Skeens?
I think so. I was talking about it with some friends last night. We were like, if they play the Braves, we should go to the game. Maybe we'll see.
Livy?
Yeah. Yeah, you got to say it, not me. I was like, we should go. Yeah, he should be up there and get some chances, especially with him being so low pressure and nothing to lose. I think it's the perfect situation for him to come up. I don't love that he's in the Pirates system as far as development goes. We saw who was okay last year, but really kind of tailed Runzi Contreras, if you remember him.
Yeah.
Who was a name, and he's been a good prospect name, but man, it's just some guys go to some organization, you're like, It's going to be wasted. Mm-hmm. And that's one of those things where I'm worried about, but I hope he's talented enough that he can overcome it. The Pirates have, who's the last good Pirates pitcher? When you think of Pirates pitchers, you think of Rich Hill or something rolling out there?
Well, it's, now that you're saying that.
So
guys that they developed.
And they paid Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller is solid, but he's one of those guys each year, he's going to turn the corner. He's going to turn the corner and never fully turns the corner.
Yeah.
So it's it's just tough.
Well, when you brought up, organizations that just don't do a great job of developing certain positions, automatically I just thought of the Chicago Bears, and how they deal with quarterbacks. No shade. That's what you get for waiting so long to throw any type of shade at Florida State today. Hey, should Acuna not be playing winter league ball? Last year,
speaking of Florida State, I forgot to mention this too. I was going to say, dude, Travis had a great combine. He might get drafted in the CFL now.
All right, Jordan Travis to the CFL. All right, we are basically out of time here for this segment. But Max, again, tell everybody what it is that you do and how you can help the people out.
Yeah, Legion Lending Firm, 850-565-1160, single-family homes, condos. You name it, investment properties, we got you covered. And Acuna should probably stop playing winter ball now because he puts so much burden on his body and gets paid so much. It's really cool. Maybe if you played a couple games, but if you're swiping 70 bags, you're putting a toll on your body.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And he is one of that's what I love about Acuna and honestly, the longer he's been in the league, his hustle continues to rise, and that was one of the things Freddie Freeman had to deal with him on. So maybe that's a good point.
And that's a testament to the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. Those guys who come up love baseball. Inverse Rendones. They all play year round. You see them playing in their Puerto Rican leagues, Dominican leagues. It's so cool. Those guys just love the game.
Yeah, they start out
live
with
and breathe it.
Vitilla with
even Tatis loves it, even though he made a few mistakes when he got his big contract. The guy loves the game.
Anthony Rendon needs to go spend a winter in the Dominican Republic or in Venezuela.
Yeah,
maybe
he would reinvent his passion. But too bad that doesn't come first for Anthony Rendon. He'll never go there.
All right, Max, thank you so much for giving us some of your time. You guys are riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs. We're going to play a little trivia when we get back.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd. Now, I don't think Atlanta is the best place for Justin Fields. I think he's better served because he's not a refined quarterback yet. I think he's better served going to an offensive coach, but Denver has one. They don't want him. The Giants have one. They don't want him. So I think Atlanta is the best place for him beyond those two.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Weekdays, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Tuesday. Moderately raining the remainder of the day with a wind at 15 miles per hour coming out of the southeast and 67. Tonight, look for a mixture of mostly clouds and light showers with a temperature near 63. Tomorrow, a high around 73 and partly cloudy. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hi folks, it's Tracy with Tracy's Fine Jewelry and Coin and Bullion Reserves. Did you know that we do more than just sell some of the finest jewelry in town? We can engrave on your wedding band, locket, Yeti cup, or almost anything. Need your watch battery changed? We can do that too. Our expert will even evaluate your coin collection. And of course, we always pay top dollar for your old gold and silver jewelry. See, there's a lot more to Tracy's Fine Jewelry than a lot of pretty sparkly things. Come and see us today at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
WPLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Haven. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
I'm in love with a man named Rudy. I'm okay with that. He knows exactly what I want. Keeps me coming back. Cooks breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. Does the dishes too. I'm in love with a man named Rudy, last name Barbecue. It sure is easy to fall in love with Rudy's tasty oak smoked barbecue.
Next in line.
the next evolution in sports talk radio. It's the Afternoon Underdogs.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Weekdays from 4 till 6. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back, and it is hour number 2. I'm sitting over here thinking, all right, it's time for trivia at 4:40. It's 5 o'clock. We're going to do Tyler's takes here, and then we will dive into trivia in the next segment. So we'll go ahead and give the trivia question out, and if you do so happen to call, whatever, go ahead and call in, and we'll stay formatless as we normally are here on the Afternoon Underdogs. The question is, and this is a very interesting answer as well, who is the only coach to have a losing record while being the head coach at Kansas? Who's the only coach this is for basketball, college basketball, who is the only coach to have a losing?
I thought it was football for a second. I was about to say,
dude,
wow.
like what coach didn't have a losing record
I was about
over
to be shocked
there?
for a second there.
All right, so for basketball, who is the only basketball coach to have a losing record at Kansas University? For your opportunity to win $25 to not the, but that boot store in a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock. We'll save on this day for a little bit later. If we have time, I have a wild story to dive into that I was hearing about on the Dan Patrick Show this afternoon. All right, I'm going to look up some win totals, but before we dive into that, what we talked about the schedule for Florida and being very tough this year. What's your outlook? What's your preview? We're going to stick with Florida, Florida State, and Miami right now, all right? And we're going to go over their win totals, and I'll bring up their schedules and everything so we have everything in order. But let's start with Florida here. What's your outlook before we even really dive into spring football?
Man, it can't be super great if you're a Florida fan right now. I mean, even Spurrier coming out and saying he doesn't know if there's a true direction the program's going in, for lack of a better, sum up of what he was saying. And it's just like that was Napier's thing coming into the job, coming from Louisiana, was he was going to be an organized, attention to detail type of guy and a great recruiter. And so far, he hadn't shown to be great at either of those things. And he was never considered an X's and O's guru. Like, that was kind of Dan Mullen's strength, was play calling, and he didn't like to recruit. He may not have been the sharpest tool in the shed in a lot of other aspects, but when it came to play calling, the guy could scheme him up. But now you got Napier, who's not that kind of guy, and they've definitely not progressed under Napier. Part of it's changing the culture, part of it's whatever, but man, they're in a really tough situation with Florida State resurging, Georgia being what they are. LSU went to the SEC title game their first year under Brian Kelly, second year, have a Heisman Trophy candidate. Those are three of their bigger rivals. Tennessee's kind of had a resurgence with Heupel. Miami's still got a lot of that NIL money and a lot of the hype, even though they haven't really done anything on the field with it. So, it's not a great situation for Florida right now, and this year's schedule is tough. Just looking at it, there's one maybe guaranteed win on that schedule, and outside of that, everything's like, yeah, they could maybe lose. They won't lose all of them, but every other game, you're like, yeah, that's a possible loss.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the schedule, and I know you're looking it up.
Yeah, well, I got
3-9 is probably realistic for them this year.
Oh,
I'm not saying they definitely will, but I don't think it's going to be like outside the realm of possibility of looking at their schedule.
And there's no realm of possibility that Billy Napier sticks around after a 3-9 season, though, right?
I wouldn't think so, but the schedule's so tough. Like, I don't know. And we've seen it before with Tennessee and Nebraska and other programs when you're just constantly like churning coaches out, which they've done since Myers left. Basically, like at a certain point, I know you got to hit on the right coach, but constant turnover is not a good thing either, especially in the NIL and portal era where you're. If you fire your coach, you're going to lose so much of your roster. It's going to take that next coach a year or two to get his feet under him to a bare minimum. And then if he's not having a good third year, and you kind of repeat this process over and over and over again. And I'm not saying Napier's the guy they need to hang their hat on, but eventually you got to kind of give a guy more than 2, 3, 4 years and see what he can do.
All right, I want to talk a little bit about the quarterback situation, but before we do that, I just want to announce the win total for Florida, and this is for Sports Illustrated where they have it, but I think it's pretty close to the same across the board, is at 5.5. All right, and so for our listeners, y'all go ahead and start chiming in. You can text into 850-215-6290, 850-215-6290. Text me whether or not you think Florida Florida will win more or less than 5.5 games. Now, their schedule, they started off in August versus Miami at the Swamp. Then they've got Samford at the Swamp. Then they've got A&M at the Swamp. Then they're on the road in Stark Vegas at Mississippi State. Then they've got UCF in the Swamp. That could be a huge game for Randy Pittman. Very excited for that one. Young man Adam Mosley, who was an honorable mention for Big 12 Freshman of the Year. Then they're on the road taking on Tennessee. They get Kentucky at the house. Neutral site game against Georgia. On the road taking on the Longhorns. Then they have LSU and Ole Miss at the house. And then they wrap up the season in Tallahassee taking on the Seminoles. And you're right. I mean, I'll just go reverse order. Maybe Kentucky, just because but their luck has not been very good with Kentucky as of late. Tennessee, no, because they've got, what's the young man's name?
Nico, I'm a believer.
I'm a believer. I'm a believer. Nico, I'm a believer. UCF is, maybe you can count that one as a win just because of the status of because of the rosters, but I don't think that you can put an exclamation point beside that. Mississippi State, some things up in the air there. Samford, I think we can be pretty comfortable in calling that one a win, and maybe you start the season. I mean, they probably who's in worse?
That could be their trap game.
Who's in? Yeah. Oh my gosh, the second game of the season. Who's in more dire straits right now, Miami or Florida?
Ooh, I mean, I feel like it should be Miami because Chris Paul's gotten a ton of hype. He's gotten a lot of NIL support, and he's playing in a weaker conference. I mean, we just call it what it is. So he should be doing better than he is, but he's an alum. I think he's a little bit more liked by the fan base. And Napier's just never been a huge home run hire for a lot of the fan base. I'm not going to say there wasn't some excitement, but I don't think he ever completely won over the fan base like Chris Paul did, even though he hasn't really done anything to warrant the praise. But the NIL money's been there. He's had some hype. And, I mean, it's going to be easier to go 9-3 in the ACC than it is the SEC, especially this year. So I think Napier's in more dire straits, but I don't think it should be – I honestly think it should be Chris Paul just as much.
Yeah. So if you were to pick that game right now, Florida-Miami, who do you give the edge to? Here's how I'm going to go. I'm going to say because it's at the Swamp. And that's really it. Because it's at the Swamp, I'll right now give the edge to Florida. But then there's the other question, which comes in at QB1, which we know Graham Mertz is coming back, but then DJ Lagway is going to be on the roster this year. He had an incredible senior season as a high schooler, DJ Lagway did. I mean, which guy do you think ends up winning the job for QB1? Is it going to be Graham Mertz, who's got a year under his belt there at Florida, did a lot better than what people were giving he exceeded the expectations, and I don't even think that's...
No, that was easy. Because the expectations, at least for a lot of us, were super low.
Yeah.
And I think he was definitely not their problem last year. He played well for the most part. I think Lagway at some point ends up being, because I think if Napier wants to save his job, he needs to show that Lagway is going to be the future and not save him for the coach that's going to come after him if he doesn't look good the rest of the year.
Yeah.
But I kind of like giving Florida the nod there. Like I said, I can't trust Cristobal after that Georgia Tech loss this past year when he should have just taken a knee and couldn't. So
that is going to be a specific play in the playbook in the new EA Sports college football game. They're removing victory formation and just what's that?
Miami's playbook will not have the kneel down formation.
No, it will not have victory formation. It will have losing formation. And here's how you do it: run the ball instead of taking a knee, and we'll call it the fumble-rooski. Well, we can't call it a fumble-rooski because that was a positive play for Florida State. But we're going to get over to the phone line. We've got Ken riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs, ready to play some trivia. Ken, who is the only coach to have a losing record at Kansas as their basketball coach?
Dr. James Naismith.
Yes, sir. Is that, you know who James Naismith is off the top of your head, Tyler?
Nope.
That is the inventor of the game of basketball.
Mr. Peach Basket.
Really?
Mr. Peach Basket. There you go. Ken, who's your college football team?
I'm a Florida State Seminole.
Oh, give me the over-under. Let's say we're sitting at, I would imagine,
it's probably 9.5.
9.5. Over or under 9.5 games won for Florida State this year?
3.
What's that?
You said the over-under?
Yeah. Over or under 9.5 games
for Florida State?
For Florida State.
Over.
Over. I like that. All right, well, Ken, do me a favor and hang on the line real quick. Caveman Rick's going to grab some more information and tell you where you can come to pick up your prizes. Thank you so much for calling in.
Perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Big winner right there. I was very surprised. I saw this. I didn't even see the trivia question. I saw this on Twitter. Someone saying, Naismith at Kansas was the only Kansas coach to have a losing record. And I'm like, there's no way that this is
impressive.
True. Yeah. First off, my first thought wasn't even that it was Naismith having a losing record. It was the only coach at Kansas to have a losing record. I was like, there's no way that that's still standing around. But, I mean, Bill Self's been there for 21 years. Two times has Bill Self in his career at Kansas lost a conference game midweek.
I saw that the other day. Like, it was their first loss since or in 10 years or something like that.
Yeah.
I saw that. I thought it was kind of a mind-blowing stat. But I guess they only play about, one a week typically?
Yeah, well, you play your one, you got your one midweek game, and then you have your one weekend game. But still, I don't care that you're still playing one every week during the season.
That's pretty impressive. Because they play, 20-ish conference games? Like that?
I would say, yeah,
so they
somewhere
probably have
around
about
there.
10 chances a year to drop one in the middle of the week, and to not have done that.
Wow, that is great stuff. So Florida over under 5.5 wins on the season for them, and then we'll move on to Miami.
I'm going under. Like I said, I mean, outside of the Samford game, which is more than likely a win, if they lost to any one of these teams, it wouldn't be super surprising. They're not going to lose them all, but I'm going to say, they beat Samford. They probably split A&M and Miami, and then probably split Mississippi State, UCF, or even 2 or 3 of those. I think they probably end up right around 4 or 5.
Caveman Rick, whenever you get an opportunity, no rush. What do you think for Florida here? You going over or under 5.5 wins?
Unfortunately, I'm going to go under. I think they probably get about 4.
Man, dude,
does Napier make the end of the season maybe the harder question?
No.
That one, oh, wow.
I'm going to say no.
I don't think that he does either,
I
man.
say he's going by Halloween.
I know that people have made the joke of the Cajun Willie Taggart, but it does feel like it feels like that hire before the hire.
Yeah.
It feels like that. He's
like the bridge.
Yeah, like the bridge was, and they didn't want him to be. The problem was he not even the problem. He had a great tenure over there at Louisiana, and it was like, well, if you can, you built that program into something special, so come over here and do that for us at Florida, and it just didn't work out, or hasn't worked out like that.
Discipline issues like this past season, what they had towards the end of the year, so that's not a good look either.
It is not a good look, and what was also one of the things that was going on with Florida State under Willie Taggart, where it was the discipline issues.
Culture.
It was, yeah, exactly. And that, culture is such a huge part of it. I mean, what was one of the things Coach Peyton Gay was talking about earlier with Coach Griffin? He was like, hey, and I'm sure that they've got a great culture over there. And what was one of the things that he knows, if Coach Griffin's not in a good mood, then it's not time to play around, right? It's time to be in order and practice the way Coach wants us. So, I think Napier, I'm going to say no. He does not last throughout the season. Just at where we stand right now, the problem is, for me, is you look at a guy like DJ Lagway, and you really can't start him out because you've got Graham Mertz returning, and so it's like you've got this quarterback who looks like he could be a generational talent, at least at the quarterback position, and you might not even get the opportunity to see him. And then if you get rid of Napier, does Lagway go somewhere else?
That becomes the sticky situation of it all, the tough call. But, I mean, is it worth holding on to Napier, even if Lagway's that guy, if Napier's not? You know what I'm saying? It's not worth it. So it's one of those you kind of just got to rip the Band-Aid off and see what happens.
That's why you don't use Band-Aids, ladies and gentlemen. Super glue is where it's at. Just take a little super glue and throw it on top of that wound. All right, let's go to Miami. The Miami win total for 2024 is going to be
8.5.
You're going to say 8.5?
That's my guess.
Looks like 9.5. 9.5. Now, this is Sports Illustrated again. And so the last 2 years, 2022 and 2023, they had them at 7.5 wins. They had 5 wins in 22 and then 7 wins in 23. So back-to-back years, they have not hit the over.
I'm going to rescind my statement. Looking at their schedule, there's not a single game on that schedule. I think right now I'm confident they're definitely going to lose. Besides, you can argue the Florida State game if you want to, but you take the Florida State game out, there's no game on there that's like they're 100% losing this game. There's no chance.
So, again, they start out on the road, taking on the Gators and the Swamp. Then they've got FAMU at the house. They've got Ball State at the house. Then they've got USF on the road in Raymond James. Alabama had that last year, and USF almost got them. So we'll see how that game plays out. Virginia Tech at the house. Cal. That's a weird
New
time
ACC
to go.
member, Cal.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the thing screams Atlantic Coast like Cal.
I'm over here like, why are they going all the way
Another
out
California
west?
connection.
Why are they going all the way
ACC
out
member
west
Cal.
in the middle of the season? And then they get a bye week. So that was nice of the schedule makers to, all right, you're going to travel out west, and that game's going to be probably at like 9 o'clock at night at that point in time.
They've got 2 bye weeks in a row. They play Cal the 5th, and they don't play Louisville till the 19th. That's 14 days.
They got out in Cali, man. Vacation time.
No. It's just one. Like they play Cal on the 5th, and then they're off on the 12th, and then they got Louisville in Kentucky.
Looking at it that way made it feel weird for me.
Then you've got Florida State, but they've got them at the house. Not too many people. Well, they try to pack the house out for Florida. That's one thing.
But it ends up being like half Noel fans, so it's not really packing that.
Then they've got Duke. Hey, and it's not like we're making fun. We're just. It is
it's not shade if it's facts, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Put that on a T-shirt, somebody. Come on. Duke Blue Devils, they got them at Hard Rock to start November out. Then they're on the road taking on Georgia Tech, which is a much improved Georgia Tech over the last few years. So that's not just a team that you're like, oh, mark that off as a win. Then they get a bye week November 16th. Then they've got Wake Forest at the house. They're on the road to take on Syracuse. So luckily they only got to go out west one time this year. But you are right, though. When you look at this schedule, it's question mark around Florida, right? Because
Florida State, yeah.
And then Florida State. And then outside of that,
it's kind of like the exact opposite of Florida's schedule.
Right.
Like Florida's got one game you're pretty confident they're going to win. Outside of that, it's iffy. Miami's got one game they'll probably lose. And then outside of that, if they won the other 11, I wouldn't be super surprised. I don't think they will. But if they went 10-2 with that schedule, I don't know if they'd be a great team. But I think they could easily be 10-2 with that. Just because it is a very favorable schedule. Like the home and aways aren't terrible. They got the bye week after going out to Cal. Sure, Virginia Tech, Syracuse, Duke, these teams could be improved. I don't know if Duke will with the coaching turnover and losing Riley. But Louisville in year 2 under Braun will probably be a little bit tougher.
10-2 probably still keeps them out of the playoff, though, because it's a weak conference week schedule, right?
If you're in the ACC, 12-0 keeps you.
I think
that's true.
Oh yeah, I think Miami's a big enough name though. If they were to go 10-2, depending on how their
even
losses
against all those,
I think it depends on how they look, and there's a good chance that 10-2 is the 9th best record.
I don't know. My only thing is if you go 10-2 with that,
maybe.
But if you go 10-2 with that schedule and your lone losses are the Gators and Florida State, it's like, well, every time that you were in a game.
For sure. I'm not saying they would definitely get it.
Right.
I think they would be in the conversation though.
And then the other question is for Miami is who's going to be the quarterback?
Cam Ward.
I thought. Wait, did
he unannounced for the NFL draft and is in Miami?
Okay, so he is. So all right. So with that being said, that does change things for me because I was like, wait, I thought Cam Ward was kind of back and forth and all right.
He was back and forth.
So Cam Ward is at Miami. All right. So at 7.5, I have to go over on that.
Well, you said it was 9.5 there, right?
Oh yeah, I did. 7.5 is what it was for 2022. All right, 9.5. I don't think
that's tough.
Oh, I don't know, man. And this is another team that we're talking about where they're coaching. You would imagine that Cristobal's job's on the line with this season.
I'm going to say just under at 9.
Just under at 9. So who's the third loss? Is it Georgia Tech back-to-back years?
It's either maybe it's Tech. Maybe Louisville. I think could be a pretty struggle on the road at Louisville if that's a night game.
Yeah,
the way Braum had them playing a little bit last year. I think Syracuse at the end of the year. their new head coach is Fran Brown, came over from Athens, brought some guys with him. I'm excited to see what he does with that program as a whole. They got Ohio State's quarterback, Kyle McCord, up there. So, I mean, they could have a little bit of influx of talent and sneak up on somebody this year. And if Miami's 9-2 and eliminated from something, they may not take that game quite as seriously going over to Syracuse. So, I could just see them dropping one they probably shouldn't.
Caveman Rick, what do you got Miami at? Over or under 9.5?
I say under. I want to say like 8 probably, because, I mean, some of the competition that we're talking about them having, I mean, I don't know how much you guys know about them. I don't know a ton about some of them schools, too, with the portal and everything. I think somebody's going to get overlooked and somebody's going to be a lot better than, everybody's thinking. And, that's a loss right there, too. So because of that, 8, why not?
And Miami has that tendency to just lose a game that they had no business losing. And it seems to be more of those kind of middle-of-the-year games. So I'm going to have them at 8-4. I'm going to say that they lose to Florida State, Louisville, and then I'm stuck between two teams here. Do they lose when they go out west to Cal, or do they lose to Georgia Tech again? And I'm going to say right now, I'm going to call it the Cal game. So I'm going to have Miami sitting at 8-4. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. We're going to dive into Florida State next. Look at their win total. Look at their schedule. Y'all keep it locked in to ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents the most college basketball.
Three-pointer, push it in. College basketball is back.
The Panhandle's destination for live play-by-play.
The SEC, ACC, and beyond.
Oh, you saw that coming,
The biggest games play right here.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Tuesday. A variety of some clouds and light rain tonight with a gentle breeze out of the southwest at 9 miles per hour and temps near 63. We will have some clouds tomorrow morning and be hot at 72. And partly sunny in the afternoon and evening and a high 73. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Buffalo Rock is now hiring Class A CDL delivery merchandisers. A $1,250 hiring incentive. $1,000 Class A CDL incentive. Come join their team. Why join the Buffalo Rock team? You're paid weekly. 401k retirement plan with match. Awesome insurance benefits are available. Also, 40 hours paid vacation after 180 days. To apply, go to buffalorock.com/careers. Attention homeowners, are you dreaming of a backyard oasis? Look no further than S&R Fencing, your go-to destination for quality outdoor transformations. At S&R, they specialize in crafting custom fences, decks, retainer walls, and all exterior construction that not only enhances the beauty of your home, but also stands the test of time. Their experienced team takes pride in delivering top-notch craftsmanship with a personal touch. S&R Fencing, locally owned, licensed, and insured, and a member of the BBB.
He's so old, he buys his clothes at the same store he buys his groceries.
Are you wearing a grocery bag?
I talk sports in my underwear. I'm gonna wear nothing but a thong and a top hat.
Caveman Rick is part of the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You're riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. I believe we have Missouri and Auburn tonight, coverage starting at 7:30, and the tip is at 8 o'clock. We left off talking about Florida and Miami, looking at their win totals and their schedule. I think we've all gone under for Florida's win total of 5.5, which that's still so wild, and I hope that they don't go under just for the fact of when you see a win total like 5.5, and then you see a name brand or a brand like the Florida Gators, and it's just off rip. Yeah, I think they're going under there. That's
tough.
That is tough stuff, especially in the new SEC, if you will. We all had Miami under 9.5. And then we'll look here at Florida State at what their win total is, which is the same as Miami. They're sitting at 9.5, and you would like to think after a 12-0 start and I guess you could say 12-1.
13 in it. Well,
13. Yeah, because even more reason that they should have been in the college football playoff, because it was 13-0 that they got left out of. But 9.5 is the total for the Florida State Seminoles. And looking at their schedule, not as easy as what Miami's is, but they're going to be starting it off over there in Ireland, taking on Georgia Tech. That'll be August 24th. Can't wait for that game. Then they'll be taking on Boston College on Labor Day. Then they've got the Tigers of Memphis, all three of two of those games at the house. And then they're back at the house again in September, not the end of September, but September 21st. They've got the Golden Bears of Cal. Then SMU gets to host Florida State. I doubt that'll be SMU's first home game, but it'll be the first time that they're hosting Florida State as a member of the ACC. Then Clemson on the road taking on Florida State at Doak. Then you've got Duke and Miami on the road. Then North Carolina back at the house. Then they're on the road taking on Notre Dame. Then they get Charleston Southern and Florida to wrap up the season. And Uyunglele is going to be the quarterback over there. What do you think of them landing him? Was that the guy? Is that the guy to replace Jordan Travis? And could Florida State be better with Uyunglele?
No, I don't think they could be. I don't think is DJU is going to make some of the plays that Jordan Travis did.
Yeah,
I think he's a nice, solid, sturdy veteran to have back there. I think if you're a Florida State fan, you're kind of secretly hoping that somebody else beats him out. One of the younger guys, some of them, Glenn or the Crow Maker, the freshman guy coming.
Rodemaker?
No, his name's it's Crowmaker, Crow, something like that. Some kind of similar to Rodemaker, but starts with a K, I believe. I think you're kind of hoping secretly one of those guys beats him out, just because I think DJU's shown that he's a very decent quarterback. I don't think he's a game changer. And then especially losing guys like Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman and Benson off that offense and Jaheim Bell. You're losing a lot of playmakers. And I know they brought some guys in under the portal and some recruiting guys. But,
Cromenhake. Luke Cromenhake.
Okay.
I don't know if the pronunciation is correct there. I just gave it a go.
No R at the end. That was, but so I think you want a guy who, I just don't think DJU is going to elevate anybody on that offense. Like he'll kind of keep it status quo. And I think you're hoping one of those young guys shows up and kind of have that something a little bit special and take that offense over the top like Jordan Travis did at times. In a different way, but kind of that similar ability.
Now, one of the guys I'm really interested in seeing over there in that Florida State offense, they losing Trey Benson to the NFL, but Roydell Williams was one of the running backs over there at Alabama, and just one of the guys that never got his shine, and this could have been his year coming up, but transfers over to Florida State. He's a hard-nosed running back, and I think that Florida State's going to benefit from that. And that's all. Another thing with DJU being the quarterback, if he does end up winning the job, totally different quarterbacks from Jordan Travis to DJU. And do you think that fits in well with Norvell's style of offense? Because it's not like Jordan Travis was just always using his legs either.
Yeah, no, it almost seemed like he had been kind of, I don't know if he coached or kind of talked himself out of running as much at times this year. Like that was kind of a complaint I heard from a few of my Florida State buddies. Like they wish he had taken over the game more with his legs when he didn't need to.
Yeah.
When push came to shove, he would do it, but could have helped them out a little bit more if he had been more consistent with it throughout the games or throughout the season. But DJU's like his style's not to run. I mean, he's kind of more like a Big Ben type of quarterback. He's got a little bit of mobility to him, and his size is a plus, but it's not something he truly uses as a weapon a lot. But I'm sure that Norvell's going to be able to scheme around that because it's not, like I said, it's not like the quarterback run game was an integral part of Florida State's offense this past year. But can he be a good distributor? Can he get him in the right checks? And, I mean, is he a guy that can rally the troops when they're down 7 or down 3 or, the tied game and they need to score to put up some points? And that's what Jordan Travis did really well the last, 18 games, 2 years, especially against, LSU the last couple years and the game against Miami and against Duke specifically this past year. So that's his biggest question mark. He's just never been that. He had a lot of hype coming out, but DJU's just never been a guy that's really shown to be worthy of the hype.
But I mean, he had a good season over there with Oregon State last year.
Oh, yeah, it was a good season, but it wasn't a spectacular season. It was, which is kind of when you're replacing, a guy who was at Florida State for a long time. I think he is their all-time touchdown leader now at Florida State. So those are some pretty big shoes to fill. Even if he's not an elite NFL prospect for a college quarterback, he had some really good years last 2.5 years.
Yeah, Travis set the Florida State program record for career total touchdowns, giving him 82 to pass Chris Winkie. He did that early in the season last year as well. So who do you think is the class of the ACC? While you're thinking on that, Barrett says FSU will win at least 11 games, might drop one against Clemson or Notre Dame. So before we even talk about the class of the ACC, if they were to drop one, because I don't think any of us have answered the over or under for the total, but if they were to drop one, Clemson or Notre Dame for Florida State?
Ooh, I'd probably lean towards Notre Dame. That one being on the road in early November, the weather could be a factor. I'm not sure if I think Notre Dame's necessarily going to be a better team than Clemson right now. But, we'll see. That would be my early edges, being on the road and potentially being a kind of a colder, uglier game. And, I'm right there with you, because Notre Dame on the road, like you said, Clemson, Clemson having to come to Doak. But, all right, so Klubnik's going to be back for Clemson, all right? And Dabo had us all trying to, by the end of the year, trying to buy back stock into Clemson. But I'm right there with you. I don't know, because it's not Sam Hartman at Notre Dame. Who is it? Riley Leonard.
Right? Yeah, Riley Leonard over there. But I think that's the same exact type of lateral movement in a sense. Like Notre Dame is again like a 9-3, like great brand. They're a great brand, but it's not like you get brownie points, in my opinion, when you're scheduling Notre Dame and beating them. It's like, it's Notre Dame, so you're getting brownie points. Whereas if their team name wasn't Notre Dame, you wouldn't be getting the same type of weight added on to that win. So for me, honestly, I don't think that they drop either one of those. But again, we're talking about a team that this isn't the same Florida State team. Now, I believe heavily in their coach. I really do believe in what Norvell has done over there at Florida State. It's been a process, and there's been a lot of progress. So I do believe in that. I'm not sure about DJU, but we did like what we saw. Look, highly touted at Clemson. Like you said, didn't work out. Goes over there to Oregon State. Oregon State had a decent, a really good season last year, though. But when it came down to the crux, to the pressure coming down on DJU, those games didn't necessarily turn out the way that you would want them to turn out if it was on DJU's shoulders. So we'll see how that plays out. But you could also make the argument that the offense that he's going to be playing, there might be more talented athletes on this Florida State roster than even what Oregon State had last year. So win total 9.5. Is Florida State over or under 9.5?
They 100% should be over.
Yeah.
If they don't go over 9.5, then they either had some major injuries or there's another issue that came up that was really bad for the pro. I mean, there's just not 3 losable games. Obviously any game's losable. There's not 3 games on that schedule looking at that. You should be like, okay, if they lost all 3 of these, that's them dropping their 3 toughest games, and their 4th one's probably not particularly tough. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just there'd be 0 quality wins at that point. Either that or some really bad losses, one of the two.
If I was a Florida State fan, I would almost want to get out of the ACC just for, Clemson and Notre Dame looks good, but it's like all of the rest of the games is, what are you really looking forward to?
If they lost to Notre Dame, Clemson, and, Miami or something, who would be their best win at that point? Would it be Georgia Tech or Boston College? You know what I'm saying? That's the problem.
I don't think you can make the playoffs like that.
Exactly. No, not with 3 losses.
No.
Or if they drop one to Cal or somebody like that, maybe if something weird can. But I think if you get to 3 losses with Florida State this year, you had something seriously go wrong injury-wise, more than likely.
What about for you, K-Man Rick? Are we over or under the total of 9.5?
I hate to say it, but I'm going under again. Transfer portal, they're losing people to the draft. I don't know what this team's going to look like. No Jordan Travis. It's a lot of question marks.
I'm with you, and I think there's a lot of question marks on their schedule as well. Well, I would actually call them exclamation points in the terms of they look like they should be wins. Now, obviously, we haven't even seen the spring games at this point, so we don't know what we're really looking at. But just going off of what we kind of saw from last year, not just the team, but also the transfer portal additions, all of that good stuff. For me, I have to go over at this point in time, and I'm right there with you, Tyler. If something either went really wrong or ESPN just
paid off all the officials.
Paid off all the officials. But no, I really do think that this is you could make the argument, and I would be fine if a Florida State fan said we're going undefeated next year. I would be like,
yeah.
No,
I mean,
I could see that.
No, 100%. Like, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility at all.
Yeah. So a good season it looks to be for the Florida State Seminoles. So we've got 2 overs and an under. So that would be both of the other teams were unders for us for all three of us.
What's it gotta be like being a handicapper nowadays for college, man? With all like the transfer portal and NIL and people moving around. Like before, you actually could look at a team's roster and you could know who's going to be there next year.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, like. Everything's up in the air, man. Dude, if you're doing a futures bet now, I mean, where are they coming up with these numbers?
Does that make it easier or harder for the bettor?
I think it's harder.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
so does that make the job easier for the handicapper
harder
then?
For the serious bettor, I think.
Yeah.
For the casual bettor like myself, I think it makes it a little bit more easier, I think, because I don't think you have to, there's not as much analytics, I guess, that come into play. I think it's a lot more just shooting from the hip and like your feel.
Yeah. What do you think?
I kind of agree. It's a little bit more of a crapshoot on both sides. And, a lot of times Vegas has the edge. And, I mean, there's a lot of the bets they put out there that they really don't when it comes to sports, especially like the draft and free agent signings and stuff like that. A lot of that's just kind of based on internet rumors just as much as, anything. So I think it does kind of give the average bettor a little bit better, just if you have a gut feeling.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they have quite the advantage that they used to with all the flux of movement and everything else.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a great thought there, Caveman Rick, because I hadn't really thought about that. Yeah. But, that's just talking about futures bets. And then, like, week 1, that's a hard you can make it or break it that week. What about some of these college football rule changes that have been proposed? What's one that sticks out to you the most out of all of them? That top one that doesn't have a header there for our radio listeners. That's one of the pieces of show prep that we have. That's just about the communication. But what's one of the rules that stands out to you the most? For me, it's the 2-minute timeout.
Yeah.
The 2-minute warning. I get it, but I don't know if I'm a big fan of adding the 2-minute timeout. So for our listeners, the committee proposed adding an automatic timeout when 2 minutes remain in the second and the fourth quarter. The recommendation synchronizes all timing rules such as 10-second runoffs and stopping the clock when a first down is gained in bounds, which coincides with the 2-minute timeout. The 2-minute timeout will allow all end of half and end of game timing rules to be simplified and sync up with this timeout. This just seems like a bunch of words to me.
Why? I just don't understand why they're trying to make the college game more like the NFL.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be the minor league for the NFL
but
now.
It's already been that way for however many years.
But, I mean, now it's going to be, really, a lot more.
I just don't get it. Like, the average college, I mean, I'm not going to say the average college football fan doesn't like it, but, I mean, college football fans like college football because it's different than the NFL.
Yeah.
It's just now becoming more and more like it, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but it didn't need it. College football didn't need any of these changes. Like, it used to be a lot... I don't know.
I would have been fine with the clock changes last year had it actually made a difference.
Yeah.
But the fact that now we're just watching more commercials makes me sick.
Yeah.
It makes me
sick. You get less game, same broadcast time, just more commercials.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not a big fan of this because what does this automatically ensue? That you're going to now, instead of the clock running at 2 minutes, there's going to be a timeout. What comes with that timeout? Another
TV
commercial
timeout.
Or commercials, whatever it is, 2.5 minutes, however long that little break is going to be happening. And it's just, I just don't like it. I do like the fact that the clock still stops. In the final 2 minutes, I like that they keep that going on. But we don't need a 2-minute warning in college football.
I do like the communication in the helmets. That rule that they're proposing, I think that would be kind of cool. Just like
I like that they're allowing it. I know there's a lot of difference between the NFL and college as far as the technology and the for whatever reason. Not every school can afford whatever the programs are, whatever, there won't be as much regulation, I guess. I don't know exactly the details, but
it's like Power 5 schools essentially. We've got it all here, and we'll dive into that in the next segment.
I mean, if teams still want to use the cardboard signs, they can still use that. If you want to use the technology in the helmet, you can do that. Just whatever floats your boat, but having the option is cool to have. It's nice to have.
Yep. Uniforms. Do you think that, all right, so in recent years, the committee's expressed concerns about the look of players' uniforms, specifically their pants. The committee's proposing a stronger enforcement structure for clear violations of the rule. On the first violation, a flag would be thrown to indicate a warning for illegal equipment, and the offending player would have to leave the game for at least one play and then could return when the issue is corrected. Any subsequent uniform violation by any member of that team would result in a timeout being charged on the team, to the team. If a team is out of timeouts, then it would receive a 5-yard delay of game penalty. I don't know how many guys I've seen wear their pants like below their knee, which is essentially what we're talking about here. Yeah, there's supposed to be a knee pad there, but most guys, their pants don't even go down to their knee at that point. So I mean, if someone doesn't want to wear a knee pad, I don't know if you guys have ever put on the knee pads into those pants. I can't tell you any time that I've had, a helmet hit me in the knee and be like, man, thank goodness I was wearing that knee pad.
We don't have better things. Like, we can't try to tackle like portal reform, NIL. But yeah, we'll worry about the length of the pants and 2-minute warnings like that.
And if they were going to gripe about the uniforms or do something, I thought they were going to make Oregon be able to do less with the uniforms.
It just feels like we're focusing on just the stupidest issues and trying, instead of something that actually matters to the sport.
That's a good point. We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll be right back with a local recap, and then we'll finish up on some of these rules here. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Give us a call or text, 850-215-6290.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The Afternoon Underdogs.
I don't like how they're doing the NHL, putting the advertisements on jerseys.
Yeah.
I hate that. But if you're going to do it, do something local. Like Wawa's a big thing in Philly, right?
Right.
So I got no problem wearing a Flyers jersey with a Wawa logo. I like Wawa, But I don't want it saying some FTX, it doesn't exist anymore.
4 to 6 weekdays. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Tuesday. A variety of some clouds and light rain tonight with a gentle breeze out of the southwest at 9 miles per hour and temps near 63. We will have some clouds tomorrow morning and be hot at 72. And partly sunny in the afternoon and evening and a high 73. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Discover Kia at Bill Bird Kia. Stop by Bill Bird Kia during the President's Day sales event going on now and drive away the new 2024 Kia. Now offering 4.25% APR up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2024 Kia Sportage. You get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKia.PanamaCity.com. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2024 Kia Sportage with $2,267 per month per 1,000 financed at 48 months. Quantities limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 3/4/24.
It moves fast. The High School Spotlight. Weekdays at 5:40.
Let's do it.
Sponsored by Barberitos. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Got a couple of comments to get into. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. This is going to be our final segment of the afternoon. Then I'm going to be hopping on a podcast with Sam Peebles for the Braves Dugout, doing a little preview of the 2024 Major League Baseball season. On Facebook, we had Dave Neat say, "Go Ducks." So man, they got to replace Bo Nix, but they've already
Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, they got Dylan Gabriel and
Dante Moore.
Yeah, the kid from Arizona, right?
UCLA.
UCLA. Golly,
Yeah, they
man.
give him a nice year, like 1 year rental, and then a nice kind of developmental guy too. So it's things are looking good for Dan Lanning in Oregon.
Interesting though with Dylan Gabriel transferring from Oklahoma, because you would think that you would at least want to get a taste. I mean, well, you're going to the Big Ten, so
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I don't know if maybe Levy leaving had something to do with it, because I think they had the familiarity from his time at UC. Well, no, he was with Ole Miss before. So maybe it was just one of those things, like it was kind of a good timing, or maybe he just thought Oregon had a better chance of winning something significant this year. If so, that's probably not great if you're an Oklahoma fan. Your quarterback just kind of up and bailed on your team. But
and I mean, it seemed like Oklahoma had kind of turned that corner, because after year one of Venables, everyone was like, was this the right hire? Yeah, and then turn the corner for him. We got a few texts from Chef Chris. He says SMU and FSU both make the college football playoff at 11-1. He said the Noles are going 11-1. Their loss is to SMU.
I'm here for it. I'd love to see SMU make the playoff. I mean, the Pony Express, like, 30-something years after them getting the death, 40-something years after getting the death penalty, they make the playoff, that'd be awesome. I wouldn't be mad at it at all.
Well, it'd be kind of neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
If I'm Chef Chris, then I'm putting...
I know, you can probably get some great odds on that if you know a guy, but...
And not to mention about the comments, man, a lot of people on there today, too. Like Coach Siegel, Barrett is on there today, a Wright State Chris, got Tabitha, got Felicia, got who else on there? Oh, Boston Tim was on there a little while ago, too.
Nice.
Yeah, so a lot of good people, man.
Definitely appreciate all of our listeners, all of the comments, all of the messages sent. We definitely appreciate that. We are going to have some and we got Becky delighting, which is Max's dad and his mom. Max's dad's name is not Becky. Max's mom name is Becky, but his dad comments under his mom's profile there. Real quick local recap. The Arnold Marlins, first team from Bay County history in any team sport to ever finished ranked number 1 overall by Max Prep. So they were not just state champs, they were also national champs. We had a few of the future of Arnold soccer. They were on the team, but they were all sophomores and juniors. They were on the show with us yesterday, getting ready for 2025 already. Man, what a season for them.
The repeat team. They were the redeem team this year, right?
Yeah.
They need to be the repeat team next year.
Yeah, that's what a few people have texted, but I don't think that the guys were that impressed with the nickname yesterday.
I know, but they'll come up with something better probably.
But apparently they also weren't very impressed with the initial nickname of what it was, though. So, but you know what? Who cares if you were impressed with it? Because look at what you did. It was, and I thought it was really good, though, because, losing the way that they did, and then to kind of come in and redeem themselves this year. Not kind of, they did, man. And the best team in the nation, finishing with a record of 22-1-1 with a 38.03 rating and a 19.4 strength of schedule. They finished above Miami powerhouse Gulliver Prep, who finished with a record themselves of 25-0-1. They had a 37.79 rating and a 17.1 strength of schedule. So that, it really matters about your schedule. And that's something I don't think it matters as much in college football now with the 12-team college football playoff, but I think we'll be surprised when you start looking at teams 12, 11, 10, and 9, what's going to be the criteria that separates 15, 14, and 13 from 12, 11, and 10.
Plus the scheduling, like especially nowadays when they're scheduling these games like years and years out, and with the turnover, you could schedule somebody that's a great game right now today, but 8 or 10 years, 12 years from now when you play them, it might be a horrible matchup.
Yeah. That's
I mean, like, then who cares? You need to do them like a little bit like shorter term, like a little closer to when you actually play the games.
Well, they got to have those contracts.
I know. Just saying.
No, but I'm right there with you, though. I wish it would be, I think in high school football, they do a 2-year schedule. So, all right, we'll give you 2 more years. You can only schedule 4 years out. But that's another way that they kind of get the excitement going, So whatever, to each their own. Just let me know when Alabama's going to be playing in Ireland so I can go visit that country. High school softball, Arnold takes down Bay last night in 3 innings. The score was 17-1. That would be an old school shellacking. Ponce de Leon put up 17 as well against Laurel Hill. That score was 17-0. Cottondale over Vernon, 10-0. Port St. Joe over Weewaw, 14-3. Walton shutting out Chipley, 7-0. And Crestview takes down Paxton, 13-4.
The margin of victory on those games for softball is just, golly, that's what, almost 10 points per game. Like this.
Outside of the last one and the first one, if you consider Bay, because they have one, so hard to score one in football, but in Crestview 13-4. Outside of that, they all, like, you wouldn't be surprised if you were calling out football scores right there.
Golly.
High school baseball, Lee Scott Academy hands North Bay Haven a loss. Very close, though, 6-5. Marist beats Mosley 8-2. Lee Scott Academy takes down Holmes 2-1. Paxton over Laurel Hill 13-2. Weewaw beat Jefferson 10-1. Bozeman over Bluntstown by 10. That score there was 11-1. And Enterprise beat Liberty 10-1. Does Lee Scott Academy have 2 full teams or something, though, because they beat North Bay Haven 6-5 and Lee Scott and they beat Holmes County 2-1, though. So interesting there. And then our final local story of the day: 10 local high school wrestlers placing at state competition in Kissimmee. 20 athletes from 9 schools representing the Panhandle this last weekend. Thanks to Sam Granville for this information from WMBB. Bozeman's Derek Williams earned the gold medal in the 120 weight class. That accomplishment made school history, becoming the first wrestling state champion for Bozeman. Man, Bozeman across the board in athletics. Like, this has got to be the year for Bozeman baseball. This has got to be the year for them. 9 other local athletes placed. In 7th, Rutherford's Dylan Mallett in the 106 weight class. 5th place was North Bay Haven's Preston Newfield in the 113 weight class. In 8th place, it was also from North Bay Haven, James Oliver in the 120 weight division. 5th place, Liberty County's Jay Brown in 132. 8th place, Liberty County's Hunter Brown in the 138 weight class. In 4th place from South Walton, Gibson Moore at 165. In 7th place, Mosley Andrew Yates at 165. 5th place, a legend around here in wrestling, North Bay Haven's David Mercado at 190. Man, we've got to get Derek Williams. We got to get Mercado on here. And again, for all of those out there listening, if you got an athlete that is a high school athlete or if they're a local athlete, y'all just text their information at 850-215-6290. Love shining the light on the local athletes in this area. In 7th place, football player from Mosley, Logan McAllister at 285, wrapping it up for Bay County. Congratulations to all of those wrestlers. Going to be working on getting Derek Williams on the line with his David Mercado as well. But if you guys have any athletes out there that you'd like to hear with the Afternoon Underdogs, get in touch with me on Facebook. My name's David Hayes, or you can text 850-215-6290. All right, a couple of other rule proposals, or which direction do you guys have a certain direction that you'd like to go for this final segment here, as we've got about 5 minutes left?
It's Tyler's Day. Let him pick, man.
That's what I was...
Dealer's choice, man. Whatever you have.
Dealer's choice. Well, let's see if there's any... What do you think about Russell Wilson being cut?
Ooh, man.
Was that... I guess it's not necessarily surprising because the writing was on the wall. But
everything they gave up to get him, and then now the money they're having to eat to get rid of him.
He's going to be a deal for somebody, man. Somebody's going to get him on the cheap, and he's going to, have a lot to prove. He's going to want to, give the number 1 sign to Sean Payton.
I don't know. It's just, it's going to go down as arguably as bad as the Herschel Walker trade back in the day for the Cowboys and the Vikings.
Yeah, that's a horrible. It's going to be going down because of all the dead cap money.
2 first-round picks, second-round pick. They gave up Noah Fant, who was a former first-round pick. They gave up just a farm for.
It's worse than the Saints giving up their whole draft for Ricky Williams.
At least Ricky Williams remember that when Dick did that. At least he panned out, though.
Yeah,
that was the thing.
Well, he kind of panned out. He didn't really pan out.
Well, but still, what they gave up for Russell Wilson is to get 2 one bad year and one semi-decent year and not a playoff appearance. I mean, 2 losing records, I think. It's just there was nothing good about Russell Wilson's time there. Now he's doubled the most dead money in NFL history.
Sean Payton didn't want him. I mean, I don't know why he took that job. I don't think he really wanted him.
Why would he take the job?
That's exactly. That is my.
I thought that was the reason why he went there was because of Wilson.
Exactly. That's what. At least that's what we heard was that was that he wanted or that was his best quarterback position.
If that was the case, then when he got into the building, then he just saw something that he would just totally didn't expect, and he thought Russ was going to be something totally different. Did you see the way he just reaming his rear end out on the sidelines and stuff, chewing him out? I mean, who
no,
does
I think,
that?
but I think that was to try to get Russell Wilson to slip up essentially and to fall right into the plan that they wanted, so that they didn't have to.
Peyton went in there as hey, we're getting rid of. Well, I'll coach him for 1 year, and if things don't go right, he's out type deal. Maybe it kind of was one of those handshake agreements, but because I think Peyton could have gotten a handful of jobs. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to be super desperate.
I think he chased the money to the Wallens, but I heard our boy Harry Douglas this morning, man, on ESPN, dude. He was scathing about it. I mean, straight up saying that Sean Payton hates Russell Wilson, straight up.
Well, if he does, I mean, but is this going to turn things around? Because there is the point about the Walmart money. There's no doubt about that. But is this how much longer is he going to be around, though? You know what I mean? Because he's got to have the scapegoat. So Russell Wilson's a scapegoat. Now it's really all on Sean Payton. And they started to kind of turn that corner for a little bit, right? Or at least had the masquerade that they were looking a little bit better.
I think now he can go get his, quote, guy that he wants. You know what I'm saying? So, he got rid of the person, like you said, his excuse or what have you. He'll find his guy now, and he's a collector of quarterbacks.
But the issue with, if they draft a guy, Sean Payton's never proven he can develop a rookie. I mean, his only quarterback he's had success with Drew Brees,
and that he don't get no credit for that.
No.
For the development of Drew.
Yeah. So is he going to go out and sign a veteran who's really out there? That's going to. Maybe Kirk Cousins. Is that the best? But which it wouldn't be terrible. But are we sure he's going to go out and draft a rookie and try to develop some young kid that he hasn't really done before? It's kind of like John Gruden. John Gruden had success with experienced quarterbacks. I don't know who the Broncos are going to go out that's going to suddenly turn into a great quarterback underneath Sean Payton if he's not already.
But Kirk Cousins, is he a guy that you can... they do have a large supply of money over there, even if this is for the Broncos anyways, even if they're going to have... I think that the way that they're going to be paying this out is going to be over 2 years, so it'll be $46.5 million for year one and then 30-something million.
I don't even know if Kirk Cousins is that guy. I just don't know what their thought process is going forward. Maybe Sean Payton can develop a quarterback. He just hasn't really had to.
Yeah.
So it's a big if on if he can.
I was never a big fan, and I was very outspoken about that. Not that I wasn't a big fan of Sean Payton, but it was one of those situations where it's this guy's won a Super Bowl. Okay, so is Mike McCarthy with Green Bay. What has he done with Dallas outside of having great regular seasons? And so you can give him credit all day long for that. But for me, I just didn't think that it's, Sean Payton is going to be the savior of the Broncos. They started out sluggish and they did get better. So we'll see if he gets his guy at the quarterback position. We'll see what ends up working out with him. And then who in the world is it that's is it the 49ers looking at Brandon Staley as the defensive coordinator?
Probably.
That'd be scary. Well,
but hey, for the 49ers, right?
Yeah, but I'm not a 49ers fan. I'm do it all day long, dude.
Yeah, that's when oh my gosh, we got to go. Caveman Rick, you're supposed to keep me on time, man. Hey, y'all have a great afternoon. Coach James Hale show is going to be live at 7 in the morning. Then you're going to have the Inside Drive from 11 to 1 p.m. And then we will be back tomorrow at 4. Just remember, Jesus loves you, so do I. Y'all have a great afternoon. Thank you for listening.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the Paul Feinbaum Show.
Jim just quit. Most people think Johnny B is the reason, so I feel like it's only right to get the first comment from Johnny B.
He is good at one thing, quitting. And I also want him to send me my number 13